Hey guys, I'm Dylan with DylAcademy, and today we're going to be doing paper 4H for math from November 2000. Alright, question 1 is really simple. They're just asking you to work out the value of this question. And all you got to do is, first of all, I'm going to deal with 18.4 squared. So if I simplify this, it becomes 11.7 plus 338.56 over 0.3. Now I'm going to deal with the numerator, and what I'm going to get is 338.56 plus 11.7, which is 350.26 divided by 0.3, and do this on your calculator and you're going to get an answer of 1167.53333. You have to write down all the figures on your calculator display. Next question, 2a, you're being asked to factorize n squared minus 4n. Now when factorizing, you have to find the highest common factor between the two terms, then divide each term separately by that highest common factor. So in this case, the highest common factor between n squared and 4n is nothing but an n. So you take the n out, and in brackets, you divide n squared by n and 4n by n. So it becomes n squared divided by n is n, and negative 4n divided by n is negative 4. So this is your factorized form. Alright, 2b, you're being asked to solve for x. Now, first of all, what we want to do is we want to get x alone. So how do we do that? We get all the numbers on one side. So let's get all the numbers on the right-hand side. So to do that, we subtract 8 on both sides. We're going to get negative 5x is equal to 2 minus 8, which is negative 6. So then divide by 5 on both sides. Negative 5 on both sides, sorry. So this and this cancel. And we're going to get x is equal to negative 6 over negative 5, which is nothing but 6 over 5, which in a mixed fraction would be 1 over 5. Alright, so question 3. It's given you these two towns A and B or something. They've given you A and B 2 points, and there's a line connecting both of them. And they're saying AB, which is this, is equal to CB, and the bearing of B from A is 62. Now, bearing is nothing but a direction. It's an angle. So if this is north and this is your direction you're going in, it's the angle from north. So it would be measured like this. So this would be your bearing. Alright? So that's just a simple introduction. Now, you have to find the angle x in this case. So first of all, I want you to forget about this line over here. Okay, so let me just draw this line again. So that's north, B, and this is A, right? And you got your 62 degrees here. Now if you look, these two lines are parallel, right? So if I extend this line out, right, this and this is an alternate angle, if you think about it. And I hope you know what an alternate angle is. So that means that x is nothing but 62 degrees. And the reason they're equal is because, one sec, I'll draw it on the original diagram. The reason they're equal alternate angles is because if I draw a triangle here, and I draw another, like let's say I extend this line, and I draw another triangle here, these two sides are going to be equal, these two sides are going to be equal, and this side is common for both of them, this side over here. So that means that this angle and this angle should be equal. So in your answer, the size of angle x is 62 degrees, and A2, the reason for this is alternate angles are equal. Alright, so question 3b is asking you to work out the bearing of C from A. Now the bearing of C from A is nothing but from A, you measure from north in a clockwise direction all the way to the direction to C. So it means that this is your whole bearing. Now, you know part of the bearing, you know 62. So if you find this angle, and you add that to 62, you'll know the whole bearing. So in this case, we have to find this angle. We'll call this angle y over here. Now first of all, look at this triangle as a whole. It's a triangle, and these two sides are the same. Whenever these two sides are the same, what it means that it's an isosceles triangle. And in an isosceles triangle, these two angles are equal. So y and y are equal. Alright? So now we can use this to solve this question. Okay, so now since that these two angles are equal, what we can say is, you know how all angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees? So we can say that 62 plus y will add up to 180 degrees. So it means that 62 plus 2y will be equal to 180 degrees. So 2y, subtracting 62 on both sides, will be 180 minus 62, which is 118 degrees. And then y will be equal to, divide 2 on both sides, 118 divided by 2, which is 59 degrees. So now we know that y is 59 degrees. So now we can figure out the bearing of C from A, as we discussed earlier. All we got to do to find the whole bearing, which is this whole angle, is just add 62 and 59. So 62 plus 59 will be equal to the bearing, which is nothing but 121 degrees. And just a note in this question, please don't attempt to measure the angles with a protractor, because this diagram is not accurately drawn. Okay, so question 4 says that there's this bag over here, and it contains some beads. It contains either red, green, or blue. And what it says is the probability that it'll take a red bead is 0.4, a green bead is 0.5. Now in 4a, you have to work out the probability that she'll take a blue bead. Alright? So now, as you all know, probability is a fraction, and it always adds up to 1. So all the probabilities that are possible always will add up to 1. So knowing that, we would say that 0.4, the probability of taking a red bead, plus the probability of taking a green bead, 0.5, plus the probability of taking the blue bead, we'll call that x, is equal to 1. So that means that the probability of taking a blue bead, x, is equal to 1 minus 0.4 minus 0.5, which is nothing but 0.1. Alright, question 4b is saying in this bag there are 80 beads. Now you know the probability that she'll take a red bead is 4 out of 10, or 0.4. And if there are 80 beads in the bag, that means the number of beads that are possible in the bag is 4 out of 10, because if the probability is 0.4, that means it's a 4 out of 10 chance of picking a red bead. Meaning out of 10 beads there would be in the bag, there should be 4 beads, which are red. So that means that all you got to do is multiply this fraction by the number of beads that are in the bag, and you'll get the number of red beads. So you get 4 out of 10 times 80, which is nothing but 32 red beads. It's because you're taking the fraction of red beads there are in the bag, and you're multiplying it by the number of beads. An easier way to describe this would be if you have a 0.4 probability, you have a 4 out of 10 chance of getting a red bead. So that means out of 10 beads, there are 4 red beads. So when there are 80 beads, how many red beads are there? So you do cross multiplication using your ratio, proportions, and whatever, and you'll get x is equal to 80 times 4 divided by 10. And that'll be like your ratio kind of way of solving it. It's easier to understand. 5a is really simple. You've been told that Cheng invested $3,500. He got an interest of $161 added to his account. You have to express 161 as a percentage of 3,500. Now whenever you're being asked to express something as a percentage of something, this number goes at the bottom, right? And this number goes at the top. And you just multiply this by 100 to get a percentage, and you're going to get 4.6%. It's because you're being asked 161 as a percentage, meaning as a percentage is over 3,500 times 100. That's what it is. So it says in 5b that Liam invested an amount of money, we'll call it X, at an interest rate of 5.2% per year. After 1 year, she received, Leanne. She received an interest rate of $338, interest of $338. So interest is nothing but like a kind of percentage. When you go to a bank, it's like a percentage added on to your original amount you invested. So like let's say you go to a bank and you give your money like $10,000, and you ask them to they give you an interest rate of 10%, meaning after 10% per year, meaning after 1 year, they'll give you 10 over 100 times whatever your original amount, and that'll be the interest you earn, which is 1,000. So your interest will be 1,000, and then that interest is added on to your original amount. So it's kind of like giving you money, and yeah. Okay, so using that, we're going to solve this question. So basically, Leanne is she gives an amount of money, X, right? And she's given an interest rate of 5.2 per year. So meaning 5.2 over 100 times X will give us the interest after 1 year, applying the example I explained earlier, right? So it'll give us the interest after 1 year, which is 338. So now all we got to do is solve for X to find the amount of money Leanne invested. And we're going to get X is equal to, you multiply both sides by 100 and divide by 5.2. You're going to get 338 times 100 divided by 5.2, which is nothing but 6,500 as an original investment. Okay, question 6A is asking you to describe fully the single transformation which maps triangle P onto triangle Q. Now, so from P it goes to Q. Alright, so first of all I want you to notice something. Basically, P and Q are exactly the same shape, size, they're both right angle triangles, they're the same in every way. Except Q has just been inverted. It's almost like it's been flipped over, almost like it's been flipped over, right? Because this is actually in this direction, so it's like kind of like that, right? So what that flipping over, or whatever you want to call it, should tell you is that it's been reflected. So now we know that the transformation is reflection. But that's not enough. For reflection, we got to know which line it's been reflected on. Now if you look at this, it can't have been reflected on this kind of line because the reflection would have been completely different. Because all the x values would have been changed if it had been reflected on this line. Or if it had been reflected on this line, the x values would change. But in this case, only the y values have changed. Meaning it's been reflected on an x line, a horizontal line. Now first of all, we got to determine which line that is. Now for reflection, these two triangles should be equidistant from the line of reflection, meaning that they should have the same distance from it. So if you look at it, you just got to look at the midpoint between these two triangles. And the midpoint is nothing at x is equal to 4, right? So that means that both triangles are then equidistant from the reflection line. They have the same distance from the reflection line. So it means that this is the line of reflection. So the line of so your answer should be reflection on y is equal to 4. Oh, sorry, y is equal to 4. Not, if it was reflected on an x line, the y values, the x values would be changed. But in this case, the y values have been changed, so it's been reflected on a y line. So it's reflection on y is equal to 4. Okay, 6b, you're being asked to describe fully the single transformation which maps triangle P onto triangle R. So from P you get to R. Now first of all, again, I want you to look at both shapes. They're the same like kind of shape. They're both right angle triangles, same alignment, same like thing, except R is bigger. So what this should tell you is that R is an enlarged form of P. So it means that the transformation is enlargement. Now, for enlargement, you have to figure out the center of enlargement and you have to figure out the scale factor at which it's been enlarged by. Now, to find the scale factor of enlargement, all you got to do is, since they're similar triangles, right? Because they're similar triangles, so you can compare their sides. So this side can be compared to this side can be compared to this side, and this side can be compared to this side. All you got to do is compare the smaller side, the bigger side to the smaller side. So the new side, basically the new triangle which has been formed, which is R, and you have to compare that to the other triangle, which is in this case P. So we're going to take the blue side, we're going to compare it. So I've written down all the points over here, 13, 6, 13, 9. So the length of this point is nothing but 9 minus 6, which is 3. And the length of this point is nothing but 8 minus 6, which is 2. So all we got to do is compare the larger side to the smaller side. So it's 3 over 2, which is 1.5. So the enlargement by scale factor, 1.5. Now, finally we got to determine from which center it's been enlarged by. Now to figure out which center it's been enlarged by, you have to look at corresponding points, which is this, and this, and this, and this. And you got to draw lines from these corresponding points. So joining these corresponding points, and you got to extend these lines, alright? So just draw a line, extend it, and draw a line, extend it, and draw a line, extend it. And wherever they meet is the center of enlargement. And in this case, it's the point at which they all meet. I didn't draw it earlier when I was explaining it to you, so I drew it properly now. And it's the point where they all meet, which is this point. And this point is nothing but 1, 6. So the final answer is enlargement by scale factor 1.5 on center. And then you say center of enlargement, blah, 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 whatever, is 1/6. 1,6, sorry. Okay, so Carlos makes this mixture out of cement, lime, and sand in the ratio 1:2:9. So 1 corresponds to cement, 2 corresponds to lime, and sand corresponds to 9. So you got to work out the weight of cement, lime, and the weight of sand in 60 kgs of the mixture. Now, first of all, the total number of parts in the mixture, so that means the mixture is 10, right? Because it's just, the mixture is nothing but, not 10, sorry, it's adding all of these parts together. So its mixture is nothing but 1 plus 2 plus 9, which is 3. 3 plus 9 is 12. So that means that the whole mixture is out of 12. Okay? So that means all of these, cement is 1 out of 12, lime is 2 out of 12, and sand is 9 out of 12. Alright, so now you got to work out the amount of cement. So cement, right? Cement is 1 out of 12. 1 out of 12 parts of the whole mixture is cement. Multiplied by, you have to work out the mass of cement, 60 kgs. Since we have 60 kgs of the mixture, we just multiply this amount by the mass of the mixture, and we'll find the mass of cement. So 1 out of 12 times 60 is nothing but 4 kg. 60 divided by 5 kg. So it means that we have 5 kg of cement in 60 kgs of the mixture. Now for lime, I'll call it L, we have 2 out of 12 in this case, right? And we again have the same amount of the mixture, 60 kgs. So it means that the mass of lime in the mixture is 2 out of 12 times 60, and in this case it's nothing but 10 kgs. And sand is 9 out of 12 times 60, which is equal to 45 kgs. And now notice, if you add each of these amounts, they'll add up to 60, and that's why this is the correct way of figuring it out. Figuring out how much mass there is of each. Alright, well in 8 you're being asked to use a ruler and compass to construct a perpendicular bisector of this line AB. You must show all construction lines. Now, first of all, I don't have a ruler and compass on an iPad, so I'm just going to refer you to a link which I've posted below in the description section. And also, in case, I'll just give you a brief description. A perpendicular bisector of a line is basically a line that cuts a line in exactly half, meaning this and this is equal, so they're equal, and also it's a line that forms like, it cuts it through, and it forms 90-degree angles on either side. So that's a perpendicular bisector. So yeah, just look below, and it's pretty much the same kind of line, and they'll teach you how to do it. Alright, question 9a is giving you a grid and asking you to draw this equation. 2x minus 3y is equal to 6. Now first of all, to draw this from x is equal to 0 to x is equal to 9, because that's the thing. Okay, so basically to draw any line you need some points first. So how are you going to find these points? First of all you got to do is substitute points, or any kind of point. You can substitute either an x value or a y value and figure out the other y or x value. So for example, I'm going to only substitute y values in this equation. So let's say when y is equal to 0, all I do is I substitute it into the equation, so I get 2 times x minus 3 times 0 is equal to 6. So 2 times x is equal to 6. So x is equal to 3. So that means that when y is equal to 0, x is equal to 3 for this equation. So when y is equal to 0, so the coordinate is, the coordinate is 3, 0. So all I got to do is take 3, 0 over here. Then let's say I'll substitute another value of y, and I'll say this time y is equal to 3. I want to see what happens. So 2 times x minus 3 times 3 is equal to 6. So 2x minus 9 is equal to 6. So 2x is equal to 6 plus 9, which is 15. And x is equal to 15 over 2, which is 7.5. So when y is equal to 3, which is over here, 3, x is equal to 7.5, which is over, so when y is equal to 3, x is equal to 7.5, which is somewhere like in between here, and that's the point. And then all I got to do is like do this for more points, and all I got to do is draw graphs straight through, and I'm not going to like do more points for this. I'm just going to draw the graph, and this is how the graph looks like. Yeah, so this is basically your line, and remember it can only be from 0 to 9, so I've stopped it at 0 and 9. So yeah, this is your line, and you got to label it, which is 2x minus 3y is equal to 6, and you got to put it that in the, yeah, that's it, you got to label it. Okay, 9b, you're given a list of inequalities, this and this, and you're being asked to put this, to label this region which satisfies all these inequalities on this graph over here. So now first of all what I'm going to do is I'm going to split all of these inequalities so that it makes it easier for us to understand. So I'm going to split these into two because they're two component inequalities. So in this case it can be split into 3 less than or equal to x, and 3 less than or equal to x less than or equal to 6, sorry. And over here it can be split into 2 less than or equal to y, and y is less than or equal to 4. So now knowing this, we're gonna like draw all of these lines. So the first line we have to draw it at x greater than or equal to 3. So first of all, let's draw x is equal to 3, and that is nothing but this line, because this is the point 3, right? So x is greater than or equal to 3, and it's a solid line since it's greater than or equal to 3. And then we're going to draw x is equal to 6, which is this one over here. So we drew this one. We're going to draw this one now, and that's over here at this point. And y is equal to 2, we're going to draw this one now, and that's over here at this point. And y is equal to 4, we're going to draw this now, which is at this point. Now, let's cut out all the stuff we don't want. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to deal with the first one here, and it says 3 x greater than or equal to 3. So meaning we want everything that's on which is greater than 3, which is on this side. We want all of that stuff. Meaning we don't want any of this. We don't want anything less than or equal to 3. Alright? Next, we're going to do the second one, which is this one, so number 2. X less than or equal to 6. Meaning we don't want anything of x which is greater than or equal to 6. So we don't want anything over here, because we don't want anything that's greater than 6, right? Which is greater than this line over here. We don't want anything greater than that. So let's cut that all out. Next, we're going to deal with number 3 over here, which is y greater than or equal to 2. Meaning we want everything that's above 2, but we don't want anything that's less than 2. Right? So we don't want anything over here. And we're going to do the fourth one, which is the last one. Y less than or equal to 4. Meaning we want everything that's below y is equal to 4, and we don't want anything above it. So we don't want any of this. Meaning, and now we have to label the region which satisfies all these inequalities, which is this region. Because all of the inequalities satisfy this. Because all of this has been cancelled out, because we don't want any of that. So you got to label each graph. So this is x greater than or equal to 3. This is x less than or equal to 6. This is y greater than or equal to 2. And this is y less than or equal to 4. You got to label all of that, and then you got to label your region R, and maybe shade it in if you feel like it. But make sure you label it R. Yeah, so we're done with part 1. Please watch part 2 for this past paper 4H from November 2009. And please comment if you have any questions. And rate this video and subscribe also to this channel. Thanks a lot, guys. See you in the next part.